Imagine a fleet of oil tankers with their GPS trackers switched off, ships changing names, repainting hulls, and swapping flags mid-voyage. Paperwork shuffled through shell companies, money routed through obscure banks, and barrels of crude changing hands in the middle of the ocean. This is the shadow oil game, a covert system of smuggling, deception, and financial trickery designed to dodge sanctions. Today, it's hotter than ever. Why? Because the United States and its allies are pushing new tariffs on buyers of Russian oil. That means the world's energy intelligence community is working overtime, tracking ships, screening finance, and hunting the middlemen who make billions in this hidden trade. In this video, we'll break it down. How sanctions evasion really works, how shadow fleets of old tankers operate, how intelligence agencies, maritime trackers, and financial regulators try to catch them, and what it all means for the future of energy, geopolitics, and global markets. Stay with me. By the end, you'll see how the fuel in your car and the prices at the pump are tied to one of the most secretive games being played at sea today. Origins of the shadow fleet sanctions have long been a weapon in global politics. The U.S. used them against Iran, Venezuela, and now Russia. The idea is simple. Cut a country off from selling oil, and you starve its government of revenue. But oil is too valuable. Buyers still want it. Sellers still need cash. And so, the shadow fleet emerged. When the U.S. and Europe restricted Iranian oil in the 2010s, Tehran responded with ship-to-ship transfers in international waters, turning off transponders and reflagging ships under states with weak oversight. Russian traders are now following the same playbook. Today, analysts believe 600 to 1,000 tankers form this hidden fleet. Many of them old vessels sold off cheap, patched together, and sailing risky routes to deliver sanctioned oil to Asia, Africa, and beyond. How the shadow fleet works. Step 1. Mask the ship. Tankers frequently change their names, home ports, and flags. A ship might be Liberian one month, Panamanian the next. Crews paint over identifiers. Databases lag. By the time regulators catch up, the ship has already delivered its cargo. Step 2. Disappear electronically. Ships are required to keep AIS transponders on, but shadow fleet tankers regularly go dark, switching them off in the middle of the ocean. They then rendezvous with another ship, transferring oil ship to ship, often at night. Once complete, they switch transponders back on and continue as if nothing happened. Step 3. Paperwork laundering. Traders falsify bills of lading, declaring oil as coming from Iraq, Malaysia, or other nations. Middlemen in places like Dubai, Hong Kong, or Singapore create shell companies to obscure ownership. Step 4. Money laundering. Payments are routed through smaller banks outside the US dollar system, sometimes using cryptocurrency or barter deals. Oil in exchange for machinery, food, or weapons. It's a complex dance, but the prize is huge. Discounted Russian crude, selling well below global prices, making buyers in China, India, and elsewhere rich while still funding Moscow's war chest. How they're tracked. The fight against the shadow fleet has become an intelligence mission in its own right. Maritime tracking firms use satellites, radar, and open-source data to spot tankers that go dark. If a ship disappears for days in the middle of the Indian Ocean and reappears full or empty, analysts know a transfer likely happened. Finance screening tools like SWIFT, monitoring and know your customer protocols try to spot suspicious payments linked to shell firms. Insurance companies play a big role too. Without Western insurance, most ports won't accept a tanker. So regulators pressure insurers to blacklist shadow fleet ships, forcing smugglers into riskier options. Naval patrols occasionally intercept suspect tankers, but with hundreds of vessels at sea, it's impossible to catch them all. And behind the scenes, intelligence agencies, CIA, MI6, and European services share information with energy departments, looking to choke the flow without spiking global prices. Why it matters now. In 2025, the U.S. has pushed for tariffs on buyers of Russian oil, not just sanctions on Russia itself. That makes enforcement harder because now you're chasing buyers across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, countries that may not agree with Western restrictions. Russia, meanwhile, is making billions through these covert sales. Estimates suggest shadow fleet activity helps Moscow earn tens of billions annually, despite sanctions. And there's another danger: safety. Many shadow fleet tankers are decades old, poorly maintained, and crewed by underpaid sailors. They often sail uninsured. When accidents happen, oil spills, collisions, they can devastate coastlines and ecosystems. The bigger picture: this covert oil game is not just about Russia. It's about how global energy works in a fractured world. Iran continues to sell oil under sanctions. Venezuela uses shadow fleets to reach Asian buyers. Even countries not under sanctions sometimes blur routes to dodge tariffs or taxes. The result? A constant cat-and-mouse game between smugglers and regulators, with intelligence services acting as referees. Energy is the lifeblood of economies. That's why the U.S. devotes enormous resources to tracking every tanker, every payment, every middleman. Because in today's world, energy security is national security. So where does this leave us? The shadow fleet will not disappear. As long as oil is valuable and sanctions exist, traders will find ways around them. Turning off a GPS tracker, repainting a ship, or using shell companies costs little compared to the profits on each voyage. But the surveillance of this system is also growing. Every year, new satellite networks, AI-driven finance screening, and naval patrols make it harder to hide. The covert oil game is becoming a contest of intelligence, technology, and persistence. For ordinary people, the stakes are closer than they seem. The gas in your car, the heating in your home, the price of food on the shelves, all connect back to these secretive routes at sea. The next time you hear about sanctions or see headlines about shadow fleets, remember, this is not just a story of distant tankers. It's a story about the hidden flows of power, money, and oil that shape our world every single day.